isn't just the, just on the first point, it's not just the IRA, it's also SPARC. People talk about it could lead to success, maybe it will in due course. El Salvador could lead to some success, and also with the conference. So it's not, we should not get fixated on the IRA because we're in Britain. This happens all around the world. It's not just people with colonial history like Britain who does this, it's also former colonial countries like Colombia, etc., that engages in conversations with that's often supported by US administration, so I don't think that's right to point to our special nature of this. In terms of Al-Qaeda, you're absolutely right. I tried to touch on this in my opening points, that this is a completely different group than we faced before. It is an idea rather than a sort of organisation that doesn't have a cell structure the way the IRA has a cell structure. It's a network rather than a classic terrorist group. And it's also global rather than defined to one country. It's much easier if you're dealing with a group that's thinking about some issue of self-determination, like Chechnya or something like that. It's a different sort of organisation. But what I said, when I described it as such, is that doesn't mean you can't engage with it. You can still engage with it. I suggested the logical way to start was to engage with it on a national basis. Because what you've got is a series of groups like Abu Said in the Philippines or Indonesia. There are groups you can talk to. There are specific issues you can talk about, like the kidnappings in Mali and Niger. So it is a different sort of organisation, but each of these organisations is different. We make a mistake when we think they're all the same.
Okay. Another quick batch of questions. Lady in the picture over there.
I have a question for Mr. Powell. She said that by talking, you might somehow make the demands of Al-Qaeda more realistic. Just like to know what you think realistic demands of Al-Qaeda look like, and what the rest of the countries will come forward in a realistic demands.
There's another question? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not paying more attention. You talk about, you said you can't actually kill them all. You said Al-Qaeda has killed a large number of Muslims, and you've also said that killing terrorists can increase the groups and increase the number of terrorists. So why then did the United States take on the surge, which was to increase the number of American soldiers fighting, when other people like Roy Stewart recommended a lighter footprint, which was to use more civilian or soft power, like John recommended instead?
Okay, so we heard this other question? Yeah.
I was wondering if, when talking about engaging talks with Al-Qaeda in a national context, if you think that perhaps the use of Islamic scholars or religious experts in certain cases might be something more considered, or what are your thoughts on such cases?
Three very diverse questions. My last question was to use that to summarise your arguments and questions.
Well, just to actually answer the questions, to summarise my answers first, the actual demands of Al-Qaeda is, some of them are actually perfectly comprehensible, like a settlement in the Middle East peace process. That's an excuse really rather than a demand, and that's the demand they attach themselves to. But it's perfectly possible for the West to talk about peace and peace if we try to do so. They want democracy in Arab countries, as I said, that's beginning to happen actually. So it may be that some of those demands will be met. But even when you double all of those sort of things, what's at the heart of this is like agreements actually that gave rise to the Muslim Brotherhood in the 1920s, which is agreements between Islam and encroaching power, Western values, Western economic interests. And that at some stage will have to be addressed somehow if you're going to stop people who have those sympathies. So I think, I don't know what the sort of eventual agreement, what the headings will be, but I think at some stage we'll have to actually address those issues. In terms of the question about religious experts, I think it's a very good point. One of the interesting things about Al-Qaeda is the way that Saudi Arabia is engaged with Al-Qaeda. I mean, they killed a lot of them, they locked all of them up. They also persuaded quite a few of them to change their mind by bringing in sheikhs who were once of their point of view, changed their mind, and who then persuaded other people to change their mind. So yes, this will be a religious debate as well as a classic political debate. But I mean, I guess what I would come back to is what I see as a weakness in Mitchell's argument, which is if you can't kill them all, if you can't capture them all, and if you're not going to, the two choices, you just wait, keep going, and hope that they go away after a few decades. Certainly don't give in to them, because I certainly would navigate that. Or do you try and engage them in hope that actually they go away rather sooner than waiting 20, 30, 40, 50 years?
Last word.
Yeah, I agree about our need to engage or talking around where I need to encourage the Muslim world to speak up with Islamic scholarships to remove that argument from Al-Qaeda. That's part of the problem, actually, in terms of promoting this, because it seems often that if somebody is supported by the West, they are automatically discredited throughout the Muslim world. So we have to be a little bit more sophisticated, or perhaps even a little bit more patient. And again, I think that many people throughout the Middle East realize that Al-Qaeda isn't the answer. And I think that a number of Islamic scholars are speaking up, increasingly so, and that's to be applauded. About the surge, I think at the time, security was issue number one. You had to establish security. And part of that, a large part of that, was we simply didn't have enough troops in the battle space. And so what we were able to do was to send more troops there. And at the same time, by that decision, even before the troops arrived, we were able to persuade some of the Sunni tribes that we were the strongest tribe, that they could join with us, that they could defy Al-Qaeda with all the risks that entailed, and join with us. And that is exactly what happened in September of 2006, starting with a fairly discredited sheikh named Abu Risha and his tribe. And eventually, but very slowly, as we put more men into the battle space, more tribes joined us, and we were able to turn the tide against Al-Qaeda in Iraq. Before that time, Rory Stewart would have lasted a second. You know, somehow it may be lovely, but, you know, El Anbar province in 06 and 07 wasn't really the place for it. And so you had to establish some security presence first in order to have any possibility of having anything else. And it wasn't just a surge, it was the Sons of Iraq program where 100,000 Sunni young men were on the U.S. payroll. Cost of it was negligible, it was like $30 million a month. Okay, so for $30 million a month, we were able to take 100,000 potential Sunni angry young men against us off the street and flip them over to our side. That's what turned the tide. And this was, I think, due to some decisions taken in Washington and, again, the execution by Generals Petraeus and Moriarty.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I could let the speakers go on back and forth, but that would risk you not buying our books, which of course is the reason they're here today. I'd like to thank the audience, first of all, for some incredibly succinct and incisive questions, not one monologue among you. But most of all, I'd like to thank our